Hello, my name's Mik Scarlet and this is my reply to the BBC Two documentary Choosing to Die. So this is Choosing to Live. Let me start by telling you a little bit about myself. I am disabled. I was born with a very rare type of cancer called an adrenal neuroblastoma, and I was very lucky to be part of a test group that had a new type of chemotherapy used on us. We all survived, and that's brilliant, but it did mean that I was very, very ill for the early part of my life. And I know from talking to my parents that there were many times where there were conversations about whether or not it would be fairer to me to allow me to die. But luckily back then, of course, surgeons weren't quite so keen on this idea, and they fought to keep me alive, which was good because only after about the age of 5 or 6 my health started to rapidly improve, and I then went on to have a fairly normal upbringing, even though I was disabled and walked with a limp, and was incontinent till the age of 10. I went to a mainstream school and had normal friends, did normal stuff. Unfortunately, at the age of 15, on the way to my German O-level, my spine collapsed. I didn't have the glamour of a motorbike accident or some kind of big rock and roll incident. No, I just got into a cab going to school, walking, and got out the other end and fell out and was rushed to hospital. Now, while I was in hospital, there was talk that it might be the cancer back again, and I was told that I was going to die as there was nothing they could do. Luckily, this was incorrect, and actually the chemotherapy combined with radiotherapy had caused my spinal column to grow deformed, and it could no longer take my ever-growing weight, so it collapsed. But this meant I ended up in a wheelchair. I lost all motor and sensory function in my legs, and a great deal of motor function from the waist down. Now, I'm sure you can imagine that at the age of 15, this is quite a dramatic thing to go through. I really couldn't see how my life was going to pan out. I not only couldn't see how I was going to find work and live independently, but I was also pretty sure that I'd never find anyone to fall in love with. Because I didn't believe that anyone could fall in love with someone that didn't work quite the way you're meant to. This, of course, led me to fall into quite a bad depression, and I kind of decided that I should try and kill myself. So what I did was I waited till my parents went out, I ran a bath, and I had made a piece of electrical cable with a plug at one end that was bare at the other, and I plugged it into the wall, and my plan was to turn it on, get into the bath and electrocute myself. However, while I was setting all this up, it kind of occurred to me that the person who would probably find me would be my mum, and she had been fantastic through all this time, so I suddenly realised I couldn't leave her to find me. So this stopped me from doing it. Now, this was fantastically lucky because less than 12 months later, my life had completely changed. I was now much healthier, much happier, much more confident. I'd started to rebuild the life that had fallen apart. In fact, I was starting to build a much better life. I knew what it felt like to die. I knew what it felt like to think I wanted to die, and I realised how precious life was. So I went out and made a fantastic life for myself. I got into music, as you can see behind me. I formed bands, I did loads of gigs and stuff. I, through that, got spotted and ended up on television. I became a TV presenter. And then in the 90s, I became quite a famous TV presenter, won loads of awards, and had a fantastic social life. I have been out with 3 models, one of which was a supermodel, the other 2 were page 3 girls, so less said the better. But I have basically had the kind of lifestyle that I'm sure many of my able-bodied friends would kill for. And I am now in the fantastic position of being very, very, very happily married to the wonderful Diane, who I love deeply and who very luckily loves me. And I have a fantastic life. So I am very, very glad that there was not the facility to assist me in killing myself when I truly felt that I could not face the future that I thought was ahead of me. Now, of course, the programme, and especially the discussion afterwards, did focus on the difference between terminally ill and chronically ill. But I know myself that there have been phases in my life where doctors have considered that my life expectancy had now been rapidly and massively shortened, and that I was moving towards dying. And it was only their intervention and the battle back to health that saved me from those periods. So I do know what it's like to think, this is it, I'm going to die. And I do think that there is more to this argument than just the possibly selfish angle that I do not want to suffer. You see, if you look at my life, throughout there have been a series of moments where I have had pioneering treatment because of the fact I had pioneering treatment as a child. No one has survived as long as I have with the outcome that I have had, so no one has had to have the treatments I have had, but these treatments have then led on to other things. The chemotherapy I had, then it was discovered that it is a much better treatment for childhood leukemia, and now childhood leukemia of the type that this drug works on is 97.8% successfully cured. Even my own nephew, who had childhood leukemia, is still here today after being treated with the drug that was tested on me. So, every time I see him, I kind of feel a swell of pride that I had a part in making sure that he was here today. Most recently, I had an operation on my spine that, as an unknown side effect, has brought back almost all of my feeling in my legs and a great deal of my motor function. And it now looks like this treatment might work very well on newly spinally injured people. So, if I wasn't here, none of these advancements would have happened. They may not benefit me. I won't walk again, but to know that 2, 3, 5 years down the line, someone somewhere might benefit from something I had a role in is a wonderful feeling. And that is my issue with this whole discussion. Yes, it is a terrible thing to be diagnosed with a condition that will kill you, and most likely kill you very slowly in a way that means that you will lose your dignity. But at the same time, do you really want your legacy to be that you played a role in allowing our society to take the first step towards being able to consider whose quality of life is worthy of being allowed to live? Once we say that people with terminal illnesses are okay to decide to die, to be assisted to die, shall I say. I mean, you can kill yourself whenever you want, but to be assisted by others, and possibly by doctors, to die, then how far will we be before someone like myself, who, as a side effect of his disability, has chronic pain, has many issues that might be considered to be really detrimental to my quality of life, could be considered that possibly, hey, well, we could help this guy too, and where will it stop? Will we start screening for genetic conditions and then saying, well, this is a terrible genetic condition, maybe, we should just wipe it off the planet? What would happen to someone that was newly disabled in a culture where chronic illness had been decided that possibly, we could help them out of their terrible plight? And I mean, I don't want to talk about that too much. I think a lot of other people have said it more eloquently than me. But my argument is, I know my legacy will be positive. If I do nothing in my life, what I have done is been part of the advancement of science. I look at my little nephew Jake, I was part of that. One day I will meet someone who has been cured of spinal injury using the treatment I have had and know that I was part of that. Do you really want the legacy of your life when you're told that you have a terminal illness to be nothing more than, well, you helped us be able to kill people? Surely the best answer would be to say to your surgeons and all of your medical team, please, any experimental treatments, I want to be part of it. If it doesn't benefit you, you can go out knowing that you played a part in saving someone in the future. Well, that's it. That's kind of what I think. I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I hope it makes you sort of consider the other argument. And hopefully we will come to a conclusion that possibly where we are today is enough, thank you. You know, the DPP have made it fairly clear that, you know, unless you're clubbing someone to death with a baseball bat that's screaming no, 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 you're going to be pretty much let off. And whether you agree with that or not, I don't understand why we desperately need this change in the law to make it kind of legal to go to some kind of dignitas place, when there are ways and means to exit this mortal coil without enshrining it in law. So there you go. I'm Mik Scarlet. Thank you very much.